It's podcast o'clock. How you doing? Welcome to Oma Diary. It is a lovely time out to be here. My name is Oma. You're very sweetheart on radio, TV, and social media. Sweetheart everywhere. Okay, so on today's podcast, I got in touch with Coach Linda. As a matter of fact, she's coming up with a webinar, and we thought to have this conversation on 28 Spot Show, which is a program that I host on radio. And I actually thought, why not? Let me bring it all here so that you can take a listen on why you as a parent should sex educate your children. Like Linda spilled the tea and she didn't even leave anything waiting for it. So take a listen to the end of the program and I'll return after now. Please stay with us. Hi everyone, welcome to 28 Spot Show here on Radio Sapiens 95.3 FM Onitsha, original number one. Hi. Okay, so 28 Spot Show is that program we've created for young ones where we discuss issues that affect teenagers, preteens. You know, the essence of this program is to help them to navigate life. My name is Oma. The 20s, they get to call me Auntie Oma. I am your very special sweetheart on radio, TV, social media, sweetheart everywhere. And with me is one person I cannot do without. Yes, I'm talking about my Lin. I call her Lin. Linda Nnodiogu. She is an entrepreneur. She's an author. She's a businesswoman, a mom of 4. You need to see her today. You won't even know that this woman has dropped one. Talk more of 4. Lin, you need to share your secret with us.
Hello, Alma. Thank you for having me here once again. And the hype. My head is literally
it's not hype,
up.
I'm saying the truth. Anytime you hear me say this, just know it is the truth.
I trust you on that.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and yes, before we start the program, I and Lenle, we actually we published a book, but that's not what we want to talk about today. Safety Code, right? It is a safety guide, body safety guide, and internet safety guide for children. But we are not talking about it today, right? Not today. There's going to be a time for us to come on air and talk about it. But today, because of what's been happening, we want to have a very important conversation. If you're a mom, please don't even think of touching the dial. Don't even leave. Come closer. If you're a dad, come closer. If you are a boy, girl, auntie, aunt, come closer because this topic concerns you. We want to talk about sex educating the girl child. Why should we sex educate the girl child? What's the importance of sex educating the girl child? And who will benefit while sex educating the girl child? These and many more are what I and Linley will be talking about today. Linley, of course, is a child sexual advocate, right? So she's going to take us through. I mean, this is what she's been doing. She goes to secondary schools, primary schools, sex educating the children, not just the girl child, also the boy child as well. So Linley,
yes.
First of all, what does it mean to sex educate the girl child?
I think sex education generally, not just for the girl child, is arming a child with the right information about their bodies, the changes they will experience, and how to manage these physical and emotional changes they're going to experience. So basically, that's what sex education is, both for the boys and the girls.
All right. Now, you know, I've come to realize that a lot of moms, dads, don't even have time to have this all important discussion. You and I, we've gone to schools, and one of the major questions we hear from teenagers, from young ones, is sex.
Yes.
So why are parents finding it difficult to sex educate their children?
Okay, for people or most parents in this part of the world, it is a culture thing. Growing up, you and I know that our parents never had that kind of conversation with us. It's our culture. Naturally, we tend to shroud everything concerning sex and sexuality in so much secrecy.
But this is 21st century.
So sometimes when you do not educate yourself and inform yourself to be able to break that circle, you tend to see yourself doing exactly parenting the same way your parents, you know, the same way you were raised. But we live in a different time, and it comes with a lot of shortcomings and dangers if you decide to raise your child refusing to talk about this topic that has become like the center of our existence today, because sex is all around them, in the media, on the road, online, everywhere. So you cannot, as a parent, shy away from that conversation. You are doing your child a disservice, because if they're not having this conversation with you, do not think that it is because your child is holy. It is because your child is not comfortable enough to have that conversation with you. Now, if they're not having it with you, they're having it with someone else. They're having that conversation with their peers. And are you not going to leave this important information in the hands of children like them, children who might have been exposed to abuse or being sexually exploited, who are going to feed your child with the wrong information, not just about, because most times when we talk about sex education, parents think it is just talking to your child, teaching them about sex. No, it involves teaching a child normal human sexual reproductive system, personal hygiene, understanding emotions, understanding even the physical change, because your 6-year-old is different from your 14-year-old.
True.
So what's that transition period between that 6 years to 14? A lot of changes happens in the body of this child, both the boy and the girl, especially the girl. A lot of changes happens in her body. Are you holding her hands to navigate this process with her? Are you working with her, explaining what she's going through, or have you left that gap that she now has to go to the internet to start searching out some things? You and I know that there are certain keywords you put on the internet and you're taken to porn sites.
True.
There are certain things your child will go to search for knowledge on their own, and they'll end up being led astray. So it is important that as a parent that you are at the forefront of this information about sex, so that you're able to present yourself as a source of information. You're able to connect with your child, and you're able to give them the accurate and morally informed information.
Yes. I've had parents come to me telling me how difficult it is for her to sex educate her boy, her children that are boys. Okay. So generally, you've just said because of culture, but hey, this is the 21st century. I mean, we can't keep really. If you don't do it, the internet will help you do it.
Their peers
now
will do it.
How can parents sex educate their children such that they will not feel that what I'm about to say is so
it's taboo.
It's taboo, is this, is that. How can parents properly sex educate their children in this 21st
century? So I give parents tips on the easiest way to start sex education, especially for teenagers, is to share your own experience.
Okay.
What was it like growing up for you? When did you start, if you're talking to your sons? Yeah, I know a lot of moms find it awkward to talk to their boys about sex education, but the truth is that it doesn't matter if you're the mom or the dad. If you have the right information, if you're able to tell them what they are experiencing or what they will experience, information is power. You're telling your son that waking up in the morning, that morning erection, it is natural. They wake up in the morning, they see things like that, and you teach them how to manage such things, or how they can handle themselves in situations like that. At that point, they no longer care if mommy is a man or a woman. Mommy has given a solution to a problem that they can relate with. So you are now a source of information. So as a woman, you share your own. How was it like the first day you got your period? Gist your daughter. Tell her about this story. This is how sex education starts. You start telling her about, the first day I got my period, this is what happened. Did you laugh about it? It breaks the jinx.
Okay.
It breaks the whole, all this secrecy, all this, you make it seem like it's big. Once you've started that conversation, you can start it with something as simple as, do you know about shaving? Different types of shaving. You can just, start as a simple conversation. It can be a trending story. These days, every day on the news, we see stories of abuse and all that. You can use that as a conversation starter. You call your children, you're like, look at what happened to this child. Do you know there are ways you can avoid this? What do you think about this story? What do you think she did wrong? What do you think this person did wrong? These are conversation starters. You've started sex educating. So this is an opportunity for you to start that conversation. You can pick out something. You might like bring up a shirt you bought for your son last year and say, did you notice that this shirt no longer fits? Do you know why? Do you know it's because you're experiencing puberty? Do you know that during puberty you're going to grow at a very high rate? Your shoulders are going to be broader. Your voice is going to crack. Okay. The way you sound, you're beginning to sound like daddy. Do you know that puberty has set in? The conversation has started.
Wow.
So this is how the easy ways.
So it's not such a big deal.
It's not a big deal because it usually stems from the misconception about sex education. That sex education is about teaching your children about sex. That is not what. It's about informing them. Because you and I go to schools. We see the level of misinformation these children have, and yet the interest they have in this topic. A simple question. So a child was talking to me about, she had issues. She said her classmate was prescribing medications that would help her breast become bigger.
Wow.
But this is a 15-year-old. Her body has not fully started forming. Do you understand? And I was asking her about, what about your genetics? Is your mom busty? The women in your father's family, do you know do you know that these things are passed down from,
from generation to generation?
She didn't know that. This is part of the information children should have. Even something as simple as menstrual cramps, menstrual hygiene. Whether you're a father or a mother, start up this conversation with your child. Once you're comfortable talking about these little things, you won't even know when you graduate to them, telling you about the people they are crushing on, the people who are crushing on them, the boys who are telling them, sending them love messages, because you've created that comfortable environment for them to express themselves.
Amazing. Always creating that comfortable environment for them to express themselves. Now, what is the danger? What are the dangers of not properly sex educating the child?
The number one danger of not properly sex educating your child is the chances that child is going to be sexually abused. Because sex education reduces childhood sexual abuse by 70%. And that's huge. So when a child is ignorant, it means that you've left that child becomes like a special target for groomers.
A prey.
Yes. Becomes easy targets, because some children, something as basic as teaching your child the correct names of their private parts, that is where sex education starts, even for little children. So someone telling your child that for the boys, their penis is maybe lollipop, telling them one simple, one nonsense joke about it, and your child believes that person, they can start telling, sometimes you need to listen to the kind of things these groomers tell these children. Okay? They tell you that this is a toy. I can play with it. You can play with mine. So you see how grooming happens. So when a child is not properly sex educated, that child can easily be victimized, become a victim of childhood sexual abuse. And that child is very much likely to take uninformed decisions, especially about sex. You see them jumping into relationships because they do not understand that this crushing feeling they are having is temporal. You see them, because of the the hormonal changes they have, the different levels of hormonal issues they have, even something as simple as pimples, they start having self-esteem issues. So children who are not properly sex educated, they tend to suffer with low body image because they don't understand that the pimples all over their face is part of puberty. They think something is wrong with them. For those who are late bloomers, who have not started seeing their menstruation, whose body have not started changing, and their classmates, everybody all around them is changing, they have body image issues. They think something is wrong with them. Do you understand? So children go through a lot of problems when they are not properly sex educated. And it also affects the relationship of the child and the parent. Because something like sex education as a topic brings the mother or the father and the son together. It helps foster that bond that lasts a lifetime. I have a friend who's telling me that her mom does not give her a bath after she has given birth.
How?
That she cannot be naked in front of her mom.
Why?
Because she's not that comfortable with her mom.
Wow.
It's that bad.
Wow.
So you see, when you sex educate your children, there's no level there's nothing. When your children are going through relationship issues, even as married people, you are the first point of contact, the first person they think of telling, because you've established that bond, that connection, you've opened that communication from childhood. It is not something. So you see a lot of older parents now, they are regretting and they are not happy with the kind of relationship they have with their children. Their children just call them and say, how are you? There's nothing to discuss with your children. They do not have a relationship with these children. But this is something that simple sex educating your child. Remember, sex education is not just teaching your child about sex. Helping your child walk through this confusing period of puberty is very, very important. And yes, sex education helps you, bond with your child, helps your child build positive body image, helps your child avoid sexual abuse.
And speaking about sexual abuse, there was this video that I sent to you, which is one of the things that inspired this program. That video of that particular over 35-year-old, 37-year-old man that abused a 10-year-old girl, right? And Lindley, what could have been done differently? Because although he was denying that he didn't do anything, at the point he said he didn't penetrate. At the point, I was like,
this story was irritating.
I was like, what is this? What is this? What are we even looking at? All right, and I think the fact that got me annoyed was he said she came to his house to invite him for graduation. And she went to wash plates. After washing plates, she laid on the bed and they were discussing.
What is 10-year-old girl
discussing with a 37-year-old man?
Like, I think when we talk about sexual abuse, I think parents play a huge role. The role of parents in the prevention of childhood sexual abuse can never be overestimated, right? So this is one of the reasons why I wrote my book.
Okay.
Not My Child.
Okay.
It's a parent's guide to preventing childhood sexual abuse, right? So that story got me. I saw a lot of red flags, a lot of things that got me worked up because this is something that could easily be prevented. Yeah. So how would you allow your child, even be it male or female, have a relationship with an older person, even an older child? Number one thing I discuss in this book is not allowing anyone isolate your child, even a child of the same age with your child. Why would your child be so comfortable to go and visit a man in his house? That is where the parents failed, because this is something that has been going on. Because for the child to be that comfortable to come and invite him for graduation, and this is a family friend, you as a parent, you should understand that your friends are your friends, not your children's friends. You should always try to put limits to everything. Then you should work, and that child is obviously not sex educated. Because when she finds herself in a situation like this, which we discussed in our book, The Safety Code, we talked about ways children can react when they find themselves in uncomfortable situations like this. Yeah, you cannot be with your children all the time to protect them. What you can do for them is give them the information to keep themselves safe. She could have screamed, she could have run away, she could have known that she's in danger. Because this thing did not just happen. It started with touches in inappropriate places that she could have identified.
And he even said he removed her clothes.
Look at. Do you understand? And let me tell you one thing. The incident, this process did not start that day.
Yeah.
There have been different stages of grooming which the parents ignored and they did not notice, because it starts with picking special attention on a child, grooming a child, paying attention, giving the child gifts, making the child feel so comfortable that she's coming to his house alone, building trust with both the child and the parents. So you see the process of grooming that has gone, this child has been put through. So the red flags that they did not notice. So a lot of water went under the bridge in that story. And it pains me that this child had to go through this before, it's like, I will always say that a preserved childhood is better than a repaired adulthood. What parents do not understand is that childhood sexual abuse has side effects. It doesn't just end with maybe a funny demand.
Can you just tell us the side effects?
Yeah, it causes a lot of trauma. There are people you notice who are, a lot of people, young girls, even older people who you see philandering, running around, they're unable to control themselves. They tend to see themselves as objects of sex. A lot of them went through abuse. A story went viral some time ago of a girl who sleeps with dogs, and she mentioned that she was severely abused as a child.
And at the end of the day, what happened to her?
I think she committed suicide.
Yeah,
and
then she got depressed.
Yes, and another girl also came out. She always on TikTok. She's always posting very sexual things. And when she now opened up about her story, she was also abused. So you see the process. Even the boys, some of them, you see some men who are attracted to older women. It is because of the cycle of abuse they suffered as children. People with twisted sexual orientation, all coming from the place of abuse. You see some of them who are afraid of sex, who are having serious issues in their marriages because they do not want sex. They are averse to sex. As a result of the sexual abuse they suffered as children. It causes depression, suicide thoughts for children, so a lot, and it affects their trust. They find it difficult to trust people who were abused,
and even their education.
It affects them
emotionally.
Yes, they become withdrawn children. Some of them, they start displaying retrogressive behavior. See a child who has stopped urinating, all of a sudden they start urinating again. See a child bedwetting, thumb sucking at a certain age when they've already stopped this thing. So this emotional trauma, physical trauma, even the reproductive damages it causes for young children. Because we're looking at that girl, she has issues now, right?
With her intestine, we were told that the intestines came out from the area.
You look at the damage, the internal damage.
It's horrifying.
The pain she's going through, and this traumatic experience would definitely have emotional consequences and psychological effects on her if it's not properly handled. And then there are the ways that we handle these issues when they happen. The solutions. How do you handle it as a parent? Most times we think it is. I'm even grateful to the current Commissioner of Women Affairs here in Anambra State, who has been very proactive, who's been very active in cases like this. The way she jumps into it and she tries to get justice. Yes. But the thing is, it doesn't end there. There's supposed to be aftercare, counseling, helping the child deal with this trauma, even the family. Okay, so it shouldn't end there. It's not something you should sweep under the carpet. It's not something that should be swept under the carpet as a parent. You should follow it up. Ensure your child is in a safe place. Ensure you remove this abuser from the life of the child. Whatever happens. Okay, and ensure your child knows that something was done. It sends a message to them, because most times children who has been victims can be re-victimized.
Yeah, true. And now, I mean, talking about this whole thing, you're coming up with a webinar, right?
Yes.
You need to take photo. Okay, you're coming out with a webinar, and I'm so excited about this webinar because it's been a long time coming. We need something like this.
Yes.
Like, we need it right in this era that we're in right now. So tell us about this webinar you're coming up with.
Okay, this webinar, which is coming up today,
this evening,
yes,
right?
this evening.
Amazing.
And it's going to be online, so your location is not a constraint, right? So it's coming up this evening, and it's going to be on YouTube.
Okay.
So you subscribe to my YouTube channel to join Linda Nnodiogu. Okay. So this webinar is going to be basically for the girl child for today.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the women or the female anatomy.
Okay.
We're going to talk about
amazing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about puberty, menstruation, menstrual hygiene. We're going to talk about the emotional changes the girls experience during puberty, how to handle attention from the opposite sex, different forms of sexuality, because when we talk about sex educating today, it is not just about opposite sex attraction. We are also dealing with same-sex attraction.
I'm telling you, I think that's the...
And ignorance has pushed a lot of young girls into this sexuality that they do not understand.
Oh my goodness.
They've pushed them down a rabbit hole that they are finding it difficult to trace
come
their
out
ways back.
Yeah.
So information is found when a child has been properly informed. You know, I ran a class on preparing for secondary school.
Yes,
some parents are actually sending their children off in September to secondary school for the first time without giving the children the ample information they need. And tomorrow you come out and you start crying that, hey, my child is there no longer. I sent a boy to school and he's coming home a girl. I sent a girl to school, she's coming home a stud. Have you noticed the fashion trend today? Girls dressing like boys, boys dressing like girls. It's a trend. Are you seeing it around
Even in
you?
churches?
Yes. Are you seeing it around
Last Sunday, I was complaining to my husband. I asked him, did you notice that I've been seeing some young boys, teenagers, that wear earrings,
painting their nails,
like
plaiting their hairs,
and they are influenced by the media.
It's the media. Go to TikTok.
Social
That's
media.
What's trending.
Social media.
See the girls wearing baggy jeans, wearing caps, dressing like boys. And when you know one thing about that form of dressing and behavior, even their mannerism, they're trying to act and walk like boys. Then people who have a different sexual orientation becomes attracted to them and start paying sexual attention to them. If it's a child who is not okay, who doesn't really understand themselves and how to control themselves, they can use gifts, attention, love, and all that to also lure them the same way boys do. Okay, so parents need to be proactive.
Yes. What time is the webinar?
The webinar is going to be by 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yes.
Today?
Yes.
Okay. How can they join?
Okay, they can send a message via WhatsApp to this number.
Okay.
0808 266 9454.
Again.
0808 266 9454. So they should send the word interested to this number and they'll be added to the WhatsApp community. Okay, from there they can get the update, the link at the time when this webinar is going to start.
Okay, all right, the number again:
0808 266 9454.
Again,
0808 266 9454.
And the webinar is happening
today at
7 p.m. Okay, and it's basically for the girl child.
For the girl child. So bring your daughters between the ages of 9 to 17. I'm not talking to parents today. I'm talking to the girls.
Okay.
So I'm sex educating the girls myself. So the parents who wants to stay too can stay back and learn. Okay, you continue the conversation.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking to today is the girls.
I know a lot of mom boys are wondering, is it just for the girl child? What about the boy child? Do you have anything for the boy child as well?
Of course, I have for the boy child, but I wanted to do it separately, right?
Okay.
So I'll pay attention to details. So for the boys, it'll be happening next week Saturday, which is the 30th of August.
Is it same time?
Same time for the boys.
For the 7 p.m.
Yes, 7 p.m.
Okay.
Boys aged 9 to 17 too.
Okay. For any of them, they should just get in touch with you on which number again?
That same number, 0808 266 9454. They should send the word via WhatsApp, interested, so that they'll be added to the WhatsApp community.
Okay, all right. So finally, as we wrap it up on today's program, why should a parent leave everything they are doing this evening by 7 p.m. to join the webinar?
Because it's going to be a transformational, life-changing experience for your child. It is for your child. Okay, this is your opportunity to equip your child with the right information and skill they need to navigate our sexualized world.
Indeed, it's been a sexualized world. Look around you. On the internet, it's everything screams sex. On the road, everything screams sex. It is such a better time for us to have this webinar being put together by Linda Nnodiogu, happening today by 7 p.m. And she has already given the number for you. Please, Linda, the number once again.
The number is 0808 266 9454. Send the word interested via WhatsApp.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I must say thank you so much for the effort you're putting in. Thank you for all that you're doing to ensure that we have this information get to these young ones, because when they have this information, they can take really informed decisions. All right. That was Linda Nnodiogu, a child sexual advocate, right? An entrepreneur, an author, businesswoman, screenwriter. My goodness, how can I forget that? She has a lot of movies. Linda, and you can get her book, Not My Child, which is a parent's guide to preventing sexual abuse. Not My Child, a parent's guide to preventing sexual abuse. Like I said, we cooked something together. Safety code. We are still going to talk about it another time, not today.
Not today.
All right, Linda, thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you so much for the effort you're putting in. We need it in this era and time. My name is Oma. You're very sweetheart on radio, TV, social media, sweetheart everywhere. I look forward to having you. And make sure you're part of this webinar, because you can join from any part of the world. I will still join because I always learn. So see you at the webinar by 7 p.m. today. Do have a great time. Bye-bye.
She too fine. She gets stars. Her voice now dies. My baby, oh my sweetheart, radio.